Ethan, go to bed.
When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared DuBois, live on a Sunday evening. The weather has broken. I know, Jared, you are spoiled by living in Southern California. You don't have to worry about whether it's going to be cold when you wake up in the morning.
There was ice on my car when I got up this morning to go bang chains. There was ice on my car.
God. Oh my God! How did you possibly
survive? I still
wore
shorts and a t-shirt though.
I was going to say, like, did you have to make a fire right there to keep yourself warm? Because frostbite is a bitch. I've heard it's a problem. I've never had.
I wore a thin overlayer for a little bit, but most of the day I spend in t-shirt and shorts.
So the weather, I don't know if we're probably gonna go back to some cold weather because that's how spring, winter, late winter works around here. We go from like 40 one day to 65 or 70 the next day, back down to 40. Today was 75, almost 75 degrees. I was actually outside for a little while. It was lovely. And now spring means like MLS is hitting, like it's feeling real. We actually had a couple of weather delays this weekend, which was weird in Major League Soccer. So that's a thing we can get into tonight, right? We can talk about.
No, the thing we need to get into is what Steve just put here in the chat. Jason with a Galaxy jersey on. What bizarro episode is this? Yeah. How's it feel?
Look at that.
How's it feel?
Well, look, I feel like a 5-time champion is what I feel like right now. Look, I got
congratulations.
There's
That's how I walk around every day
on this custom jersey that I'm wearing right now, and I got the City of Dreams. A whole look is happening right here.
Do you know what the name is for that? What's on your collar and on the sleeve?
The name?
Yeah, for that design that's on your collar.
Oh, the design, the actual galaxy, the star thing that you guys have right there. That thing?
Yeah. Do you know what that's called?
No. What is that called?
They call it the quasar. I would get used to it.
I
would get used to it. The reason I'm telling you is because there's theories that Galaxy's up for another rebranding, and the Quasar is the way they're going to go.
So wait, hold on. They're going to change the badge, but keep the Quasar.
I think the Quasar may be the thing that LA is maybe inside or something like that. I don't know. There's the talk that it's time for another rebranding on the Galaxy side. They're really throwing a lot into it. Like when you went to the opening day. My kid wanted to. We couldn't find the stand, and we didn't have enough time because it took so long to get in that dang place that day, the Home Depot Center.
That's not what it's called. That's not what it's called.
That is what it's called. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna keep up with the trends. But they had a booth where you could like etch in the Quasar into your head and your hair. Okay. Like a stencil, and they do it. My kid wanted to do it, but we couldn't find the booth.
All right. I like this from Solomon that I've sold out, as if I ever was not just available to take whatever things people sent me. As if this is something that drives Jared crazy, right? I have no soul, right? I have no soul. I said this in our Slack, the bestie Slack, that while I have no soul, according to Jared DuBois, I am Master Shake FC till I die because I helped create that jersey. All right, it's a whole thing.
I mean, you have no soul because you're ginger, and then your beard has no soul. I should say.
Hold on a second. I'm like I'm not even ginger. I'm like half ginger, and even
your face has no soul. Your face is extremely ginger.
I think if you saw, I mean, you've seen. It's been a long time since we've seen each other in person. It's crazy actually to think about how long it's been since we've seen each other in person. But if you see the beard up close, there's a lot of red. It looks very red. It's light. But there's also like black in here. There's obviously white. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like there's not white or gray.
Oh, yeah.
I've got like the whole rainbow. It's like the colors, United Colors of Benetton happening right here in this beard. It's a special place in the world.
You know what also is amazing? Like they're talking about how you get all this free stuff. Like, there's still some really cool shoes that never got sent to me that were supposedly going to go to me, and that just didn't happen. I don't know what happened there.
They're in the closet. I'm going to pull them out.
No, you've probably worn them like 8 times now. They've got like dog dookie on the bottom of them.
I swear on the lives of my children that I have not put those shoes on. I'm being serious.
You didn't wear them around the house. You didn't try them on to see if they fit.
I did not. I have not even done that. I swear, I have not even done that.
For posterity, Tiago, this is how much your dad cares about you. He was willing to put your life on the line for some shoes.
But I'm not. I'm telling the truth. So he must know that it must. It's really serious. That I I really haven't worn the shoes if I'm willing to put it out there like, okay, look, here we are on a Sunday night. We are, I don't know what, 2.5 weeks away from a U.S. men's national team game at the Azteca against Mexico. Roster will be out before that. We've got to take stock of some things. Now, again, I know MLS is out there, and we can talk about. Austin fans are mad at me today because I said that they're beating up on their non-conference schedule. All the college football fans out there are going to be like, yep, that's exactly what's happening. FC Cincinnati and Inter Miami get walloped by Austin. How good are they really? There's the Galaxy victory. My team right here. We won. Jared, did you know? We won in Charlotte in front of 75,000.
I was aware.
We might talk about Charlotte a little bit. Like, they didn't win the game, but they had their big night out. It was really wild to see that many people in a stadium to watch a soccer match in America. But there's a couple of U.S. men's national team topics that deserve our attention first. And I think let's just do a dedicated...
Go to DEF CON 2.
A dedicated DEF CON. Not on the entire team, Jared, because we don't know what the roster looks like. There's a couple of things here. Let's do a DEF CON on goalkeeper specifically. And I was waiting today to see if Zach Steffen would dress for City in the Manchester derby. He did not. Scott Carson was dressed for Manchester City. So Zach Steffen's still not back.
Yeah.
We know Matt Turner's not going to be back, or he's not back. He didn't play this weekend. I think there's some real worry that this is a bigger deal for Matt Turner than just, he's got a small foot thing, right? I mean, that's something we have to worry about. Ethan Horvath is playing. I mean, thank the soccer gods that Ethan Horvath at least is getting time. It took him like 6 months to get back.
One goal in 3 games so far. He's let
something like that. It took him forever to get back in the lineup at Nottingham Forest after signing with them last summer. I don't know if that's where we go though. So tell me what I want the fans. I want everybody listening. Tell me what your DEF CON is on goalkeeper specifically for this coming window in March. If Zach Steffen is not back, and even if he's back, how much do you trust him? And I don't think Matt Turner's making it. It just does not look like he's going to. So where do we turn? Is it Sean Johnson? Is it Ethan Horvath? What do you do, Jared? What do you do?
A hot Tiger beat 17-year-old?
No. Gaga Slonina. Okay, I know.
The dude's on 2 shutouts to start the season, dude.
Okay, I saw that Ezra was talking him up. Like, I would trust him to start at the Azteca. Really? You're going to start a 17-year-old goalkeeper at the Azteca in a World Cup qualifier for his first ever cap? Are you got to be kidding me? Come on. I mean, I like the kid, but we're going nuts with that. It's not
okay, but you know that there's a segment of Twitter that if you're under 20, you should be starting for the national team.
That's the thing. If Gaga Slonina had already made his move, and let's say he was on the bench, not playing, because I don't think he would get that job, but let's say he was on the bench at a place like Bologna or Sassuolo or something like that, he would be the guy, right? Everybody would be calling for him to start because he's healthy.
Okay, if he was starting in, let's say, second Bundesliga. And his last 2 games.
How many games? I don't
know. Let's say he played a season. Let's say he had the season he had in MLS last year in the second Bundesliga. Last two games were shutouts. Would you feel differently? Because the question I'm asking is it the age or is it the level?
I think it's the age for me. And maybe I'm overly conservative. Look, if we're talking about a 17-year-old striker, and we started an 18-year-old striker in World Cup qualifying for his first ever cap, I was fine with that because we didn't have any other options, and he was scoring goals.
Do you really think that there's a case to be made that Sean Johnson would be more composed at the Azteca?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Are you kidding me? With the amount of experience he's had in big games,
international experience.
I mean, he hasn't played a ton of matches for the U.S. men's national team.
Because all I can remember is U23 blunder. That's all I can remember.
But how long ago was that? Are you going to hold that against him forever?
It's in my head. What do you want to tell you? It's not in my head?
I just wonder, like, seems a little harsh. Seems harsh. Now, here's Ramiro saying, in seriousness, I go with Horvath. He got in the Mexicans' head with that Nation Cup final performance in Denver. I mean, that is maybe the one thing that might tilt this for me. Because, yeah, Sean Johnson has a ton of experience as a professional, not for the U.S. men's national team. And you're right, you're talking about his history with the Olympic qualifying team back in the day. Did not go well for him. Gaga Slonina is 17 and along for the ride, at least for me. You could talk about Brad Guzan. I mean, I don't know.
Listen, we've already talked about this. We took some flack for this, me mainly, because I'm probably the one that said it, that Mexico game might be a little bit of a cast aside game in this window in terms of what you want to prioritize?
I think it's not your main priority. I don't think it's a cast aside, but it's not your main priority. And I think that's kind of what you were trying to say.
Maybe you bleed a kid in.
Okay, but this is always the so do you ascribe to the idea that you can ruin a player if you throw him to the wolves too early and he does not do well? Because I think there are a lot of coaches, a lot of managers.
I think short term, not long term though.
So you're saying like if Greg Berhalter, and I don't think he's going to do this, but if Greg Berhalter looked down the bench and said, Gaga Slonina, you're my guy, 17 years old, you're starting the Azteca. Now, we don't exactly know what it's going to look like in that building with the fans, but let's imagine it's full. Let's imagine there's 100,000 Mexico fans in that building screaming down things at Gaga Slonina in his first ever senior cap for the U.S. men's national team with the World Cup on the line. I mean, you can say, well, those other two games matter more, but that's the World Cup on the line. It's going to feel like that.
Greg Berhalter's like you're putting your job on the line if you start Gaga Slonina.
It's grandes cojones for Greg Berhalter, absolutely.
But not just that, but if you're Ethan Horvath or Sean Johnson, and he starts the he goes to the bullpen and pulls out the kid from the farm team.
You write your resignation for the national team right there. You retire internationally right there, right? You have to. You have to.
Okay, so let's talk about. Okay, let's go for our pecking order. Okay, and let's say there's one name we haven't talked about too that should be in this conversation a little bit, just because of the situation we're in right now, and that's Brad Guzan is on the outside looking in on this as well in terms of experience.
I brought him up.
Did you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. I brought him up.
If you're going to rank Horvath, Guzan, Slonina,
by the way, they lost what? 3-1, 3-0 in Colorado this weekend. Just throw that out there. Just throwing it out there.
And you caught me in the middle of it. Sean Johnson. If those are the four, and I think that's the four, right? I don't think there's anyone where we would be considering out of those four, outside of those four.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody else on the radar. No,
I agree. So what's your 1 through 4 on that in terms of who you would take? I mean, who you would start?
Man, okay. So I think it's Horvath. He's had the most recent success of the quartet for the national team. Now, again, he was thrust into that game at the Nations League final in Denver, but he performed very, very well in that game. And again, to Ramiro's point, he might actually be in the heads of the Mexicans a little bit. I mean, the guy was so cool. I mean, I don't know what his deal is in getting time with his club team, whether it be in Belgium or in England with Nottingham Forest. I don't know why he can't seem to stick and get regular minutes, but when he has shown up in those moments, he's looked very good. I think I would go Guzan next. It's a toss-up between Guzan and Johnson for me.
No, you got to go on the record, man. This isn't like your allegiance to teams. You got to have an actual opinion.
Okay. All right. So Horvath, who hasn't been in the mix but does have some fairly recent success with the national team. Johnson, because he's been around the team, they all respect him. They all know him.
Coming off a MLS Cup win as well.
Yeah, Guzan, who has a history of the national team but hasn't been in the mix for a while, and then Slonina. And that's not because I think Slonina's bad. Ezra Hendrickson says he could play. Who am I to doubt Ez? But I don't think he's the kid. Right? He's not the guy right now.
No, I think
have to go on the kid.
I think I'm going to go with the same lineup as you there. I think that's my 4 as well. The hard thing is putting Horvath in there on literally 3 games this season. 3 games like this season.
I know.
Like that's a tough thing. But at least he's looked good recently.
Hold on. But the other alternatives are 3 MLS keepers who have played twice so far. Now, 3 times
Come on,
whatever.
Keeper's not like a field player. Come on, dude. Sean Johnson was playing meaningful games up through December. I mean, won a title. There's a difference there between a guy riding the pine.
You're saying that over the last 6-8 months.
I'll say this. What I'm really saying is that Ethan Horvath, according to the manager that's been watching him day in, day out for 6 months, did not have a job until the last 3 weeks. Something about what he was showing in training and practice there was not good enough to start for Nottingham Forest in the championship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he came into a club that was not eyeing him as the starter anyway. He was always kind of picked to be the backup. But
for me, what edges him out is the fact that he's played against Mexico in a meaningful game last summer, and I think we'll have the confidence enough to do so again.
Okay. All right. I mean, again, I mean, did you give a DEFCON on this? I'm thinking I'm at 2. I don't think it's a 1.
It's a 2. I think there's a lot of other positions on the field that will matter more. If the keeper's getting that tested that it matters that much, these are all professional keepers. They're all professional keepers. I don't think this is a difference maker.
One of them doesn't need to shave very often, but they're all professional keepers. One of them is, his voice still
Brad
cracks
Guzan?
when he's on the phone with his. he doesn't need to shave the head anymore.
Yeah.
That might be true. He might be past the point of even having to bick it because it just doesn't even show.
Does Slonina have to shave his face more often or Guzan his head more often?
Good question. I think probably it's still Guzan has to shave his
You
head
think he's
more
having to
often.
bick that thing on the regular still? I guess it's the sides. It's the
He's got
Costanza.
the male pattern. He's got the male pattern
Yeah.
stuff.
He might have
Yeah.
That's Larry David kind of thing
the
going
Costanza.
on.
That's interesting because I saw some video. I think it was a TikTok or something. They were pointing out that Jason Alexander in Seinfeld in the 90s was supposed to be like 29 years old or something, and he was already male pattern baldness. Like I can't believe that guy was supposed to be 29. He was literally 29 when that show started. We just we judge now very harshly.
Here's the
You're not
interesting
allowed to be
question
like
for
that.
you though.
Yeah. Now
Brad
you have to
Guzan,
age like
Brad Guzan,
yeah.
Michael Bradley,
Yeah.
Casey Keller,
What is this, a bald-headed person
and
question? What's
Bob
happening?
Bradley.
Yeah, what about
If all four of those guys grew their hair out, who would be the weirdest to look at? Who do you think has the weirdest grow out hair there?
Wow. I think Michael is probably the one who could do the most with it. It would just not look
I'm thinking
good.
that's probably the weirdest. Because here's
Yeah,
the
but-
thing. Why did
yeah.
he make the choice to start doing it so early?
Yeah,
It had to be weird. Maybe he might
made
have
the
one of those
commitment.
unicorn things on the front, where it's just like a spike in the front.
I kind of feel like Michael Bradley was one of those guys who didn't look good with hair when he had it. You know what I'm saying?
Six
Maybe
year
it's
Michael
the
Bradley.
time.
Now this is weird. I gotta be careful how I say this.
It's the
Was a handsome young man, like when he had hair back in New York Red Bulls
Well,
days.
be careful.
or
Wasn't he a
days.
teenager
Retro-
when he signed? Were you talking about a minor back then?
That's what I'm-
Be
that's what I'm
careful.
saying. I had to tell you to
Get
be
yourself in
careful.
trouble. All right. So that's the goalkeeper situation. Keep coming at us in the chat with all of that. I think we need to move. I mean, we're all scared by it, but let's just move on because let's talk about something that maybe is positive. And here's what's weird about this story, right? Because we are in a position, goalkeeper is a problem with a couple of injuries. Because we're in a position where there is not a single center forward in the U.S. men's national team pool who can seem to buy a goal at a level enough to convince everybody he's the guy. And I'm not saying Jordan Pifok's not the guy, Jared. We'll come to him in a second. But because there's not somebody succeeding at a top 5 league level or doing it on the regular somewhere or whatever, we're having this debate. There are multiple reports out over the last couple of days that Folarin Balogun, who is an Arsenal kid who's on loan at Middlesbrough right now, 20 years old, is set to decide to play for the United States men's national team. Now, he's boys with Yunus Musa. That's a big part of this. Musa was in the Arsenal system as well. He's talented, but are we at a point now where it's like if he decided to play for the U.S. today, he might be in the team to go to Mexico City? Are we at that point?
his choices were England, Nigeria, and the U.S., I believe.
Yes, that is correct. You are correct.
Now, I don't think that a Arsenal reservist is going to break into our starting striker pool.
I brought some information to the table in order to talk about Folarin Balogun. Okay. By the way, I think in terms of the name rankings, and we're doing pretty good with names with the U.S. men's national team right now. I mean, Yunus Musa is a great name. You got I'm trying to think. Tim Weah is a great name. Obviously, just family name Timothy Weah. You got a Weston McKennie, which a person named Weston McKennie could be so many things. He could be a world class soccer
rodeo
player.
rider.
He could be a NASCAR driver. A guy named Weston McKennie's driving. He could be driving NASCAR. Yeah. He could be a country music singer. He could be a rock star. He could be anything. He could be an actor. Folarin Balogun would go near the top.
I can't listen. That name can be in front of me, spelled out, and I still can't say it right.
Okay, so this is what I brought to the table. On loan at Middlesbrough, he has 9 appearances. 4 of them are starts. 0 goals, 1 assist.
Yeah, and if you search him, you're going to find some really cool clips of like special things with the Arsenal reserve team. And
scoring
I don't
a ton
think
of goals at the U23 level. But
I'm happy he's going to sign with us. I think he's a talent for the future. I just don't think that he's at a point where he's pushing Pifok out of a starting position. I don't know that he's pushing Pepe or even Josh Sargent out of a roster position because he's a complete unknown with 1 window left to play. I don't think this is the move at this point. I think this is a move for him to be on a World Cup squad in 2022, potentially. I don't think he has that choice at the England level, and Nigeria has a really good talent as well. I don't think he's breaking into that team in time for December. I think when he looks out at his options, the U.S. is the only one that has an option for him to make a World Cup squad this cycle. And so it's smart for him. But he's not there right now. He's not
No.
at that level.
No, I don't. I think that's probably right. I mean, again, I when I shared this news and it got picked up by not just U.S. men's national team fans, but Arsenal Twitter found it and started talking about it. And I think some, particularly Canadian Arsenal fans, were very upset by this news for some reason. Lots of them in my mentions on Twitter. It just annoyed them, I guess. And then they're like, "Oh, but Kyle Aaron and Jonathan David are so much better anyway." Yes, I know. You guys are very lucky. You're blessed.
They're
okay?
both older too.
This is true. And he's 20 years old. I mean, that's the thing. He's 20. And although we have adjusted him and normalized this idea that 20-year-old players are going to help the U.S. men's national team qualify for the World Cup and maybe do something when we're there, et cetera, this is not a kid that is going to be a national teamer in this cycle. He's not. He's going to have to wait for his turn. And by the way, none of this is confirmed, right? It's just the Sun and Football.London reporting this, and I haven't seen him. Somebody said I need him to be holding up a flag. I need him to be singing the national anthem. I need something. Although to the credit of the reports, Greg Berhalter was in England this weekend. He was at some games this weekend.
Josh Sargent, yeah.
Yeah, he went out and watched Josh Sargent. Is Josh Sargent going to be in this team based on what he did this weekend? You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think he's done enough. I think he's once again, our thing about Josh Sargent has always been he understands the system maybe better than any guy outside of Christian Pulisic that plays up in that front forward three. And the weird thing has been, what position is he? If he's going to be a wide forward, he's not better than Tim Weah, Gio Reyna, or Christian Pulisic or Brendan Aronson. He's not. He's 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in that range. But as a guy that can come in and run a system in one of these three windows, maybe even as a backup to the number 9, I think you bring him in because he's a guy that is obviously feeling good about his performances right now. He's in good form, and I think that Greg Berhalter trusts him. And I think that's one of the reasons PFOC has not been called in, despite having really good statistics and really good scoring rate, is that I don't think that Berhalter is sold on PFOC understanding his role in his system. It has to be. What other reason do you have not to bring a guy that's on 20 goals last window?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really hope this isn't Berhalter overthink. I mean, it probably is, right? Because that's what he does. That's what Greg does. He overthinks the whole thing.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
And we get paralysis by analysis instead of just making a simple choice. And I'm not saying that. Look, I'm not saying that there isn't reason to look deeply into something or think about a player's ability to fit in a system or understand a system or do the defensive work that Berhalter certainly wants from a forward, because that's part of the whole thing. Yeah. But, man, you are in a position now where basically 4 points will get you in the World Cup. You're almost guaranteed to make the World Cup if you get 4 points out of this window.
Yeah.
But you are playing 2 away matches to difficult teams, and one of them is going to have the ball more than you probably at home in Mexico.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to throw somebody in there who's a bulldozer, who's a road grader, who's going to go up and win something, who's going to bully people off the ball to score goals, because we don't have that guy right now. Ricardo Pepi, as much as I love him and think he's a precocious talent who's going to come good one day, he's not that kid right now. We need somebody who does not have any compunction about just running people over to score a goddamn goal.
So you mentioned playing away at Azteca. Do you feel like with the tragedy that unfolded in Mexico at the stadium this weekend, is that going to have any repercussions, you think, for that Azteca game?
I know we have to mention this. I'd rather.
You think there'll be like reduced stadium crowd maybe or something like that?
I don't think so. First, okay, couple of reasons. One, this was a club game. It doesn't have anything to do with FIFA, so FIFA can't punish Mexico over any of this. Number 2, I don't trust the FMF or the football authorities in Mexico to connect those things and to think they need to do something different. I think they're going to just basically say, oh, that happened in Querétaro. That doesn't have anything to do with the game in Mexico City. They may have good security, and some of our besties who have been down there to games at the Azteca have said that the security is usually pretty solid there, at least protecting the U.S. fans. So, I mean, you're not talking about fighting between U.S. fans and Mexico fans at that game, more than likely. So I don't think there's anything that's going to change. I don't think anything's going to change.
I was just interested in your take on that, because it's an unfortunate thing that obviously that happened, and just it's something that's always the worst case scenario when you go to Azteca and stuff like that, and you see the barriers in place, the riot squads in place and stuff like that, and it's something that you hope just never happens. And to see it happen, present itself this weekend, and let's be honest too, with a World Cup being hosted in Mexico, 4 years away right now. This is the kind of thing that visually you want to make sure is not out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Mexico is going to have to address this in big ways. I mean, I don't want to get too reportery here because it's not my sourcing. I've seen some things. John Arnold is a good source for this. Wiso Vasquez is a good source for this. Cesar Hernandez is a good source for this. Go find those guys. They're saying things like Querétaro could have their license pulled, basically be kicked out of the Mexican league.
Send them to the bottom of the
They're going to lock down the stadium, and there just won't be anything happening there. I mean, you have to do that, right? That's the stuff we're talking about. It's not going to have anything to do with the USA Mexico game on March 20, whatever that is, March 26th, whatever that is. Not going to. I just don't, or 24th. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with that.
Okay, so when you think though about, we're talking about players that are in form in Europe right now, and obviously we spoke about Josh Sargent slightly. Who's the hottest player in Europe right now? Is it have to be PFOC? There's no other choice, or is what Christian Pulisic's doing at the Premier League level more impressive right now?
I think Christian is doing. I think Christian responded. I don't know if it's something mental. I mean, I don't know that you can necessarily say that thing caused this thing. It's correlation as much as it's causation. But we went through this last window. Oh, Christian Pulisic, he doesn't have it. He's gone. He's not working for him anymore. Tuchel doesn't play him. He's not affecting the U.S. men's national team positively. Blah 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 blah. And look, I know you can't really put a lot into the garbage time goal he got against Honduras in St. Paul. It is what it is. And today's goal was nothing. That was a mistake at the back.
You say that. You say you put nothing into it, but the guy got sat. And then he got a goal he hadn't got for a while.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like I think you can. It goes both ways. You could say like that's an incredible response. He responded to being benched. He responded to having his job taken away. He's responded to Tuchel giving him the opportunities with Chelsea. You can say that, sure. I mean, he scored other goals. I mean, today's goal again. I don't think you could put a lot of that on Christian Pulisic doing something amazing. But he did set up the goal. Was it Havertz who scored off of his cross? Like he did play well from that. And I think Christian Pulisic has always been a good player. He's just always been more subject.
Set up Mount twice on beautiful opportunities in the Champions League game.
In the Champions League, it got wasted. Right. He's always been subject to the winds blowing. They blow him all around, and he just doesn't.
You know what I actually feel? I feel like Christian Pulisic is for some reason a late season player. Maybe it's because he gets hurt during the season. That's why I feel that way. But
maybe
if you think about last year, down the stretch in the Champions League run, the semifinal game looked fantastic. You know, like for some reason it starts to come together for him on the back end of the season, and I'm not sure if it's injury related or what. But I also think that Chelsea's finally starting a consistent three up front, and Mount, Havertz, and Pulisic. I think there's been so much tinkering with that front three all season long, in trying to find a way to get all those guys time. Right now, Tuchel seems to be going to the same three for every game that's important. And the interesting thing is, when you look at those three, I don't think there's pure number 9 in any three of them. That's the weird thing about that working, is somehow they're just interchangeable.
The thing about the situation now is that the league is gone, right? I mean, it was gone a little while ago, but the league is gone. There's no chance of Chelsea winning the league at this point. Yeah. So Tuchel can play, I don't know, to maintain. They have a 5-point lead on Arsenal for 4th. I mean, as long as they don't drop below 4th, they get their Champions League spot for next year. You know, what is it? They're still in the Champions League, right? They're putting a lot of effort in that because that's the one front that they can still win. I don't know. I just don't think that this is – I think that maybe that has changed the calculation a little bit for Tuchel, and maybe he's not overthinking as much, right? Because he's not chasing a league title now because that's definitely gone. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I think maybe he's just freed up a little bit with expectations, or Tuchel's just showing faith in him, and maybe that's enough to make him change.
That's the thing. Like we are very binary in how we view this stuff, and it's part of the narrative, right? It's part of what we do with soccer. It's part of what we do with sports. It's sort of like professional wrestling. Like there's a baby face and there's a bad guy, right? There's a heel. We don't have this ability to divine that there's complicated situations and that things are gray most of the time. Thomas Tuchel probably. It's not that he doesn't like Christian Pulisic. It's that he sees Christian Pulisic to do specific things. And for us, it's frustrating because we want him in the lineup every single week because we think he can score goals and do those things. Again, figure out a coach. Figure out why Greg Berhalter does what he does. Nobody knows, right? It's in his head.
What do you think about Frank's take right here? Pulisic should have more of a super sub role. It worked versus Mexico and Cincinnati.
So okay, let's come to this real quick. And there are some other things I want to get to tonight, but you rattled off a bunch of names earlier about how Fowler and Balogun, who's not coming into the team right now anyway, even if he decides to play for the United States, is not going to beat out a bunch. First of all, Gio Reyna, is he healthy?
Supposedly they said he could feature next weekend. Back in the,
next
in the
weekend,
team.
right? He's not healthy now. He might be healthy next weekend, right?
Yeah.
Brendan Aronson played this weekend. I don't think he played all that well, but he played this weekend in a victory for Salzburg.
There was theories that he was being rested for the Bayern game.
Okay, Tim Weah. Is he healthy right now?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't even see France this weekend.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there. As much as it is that we have these guys, it's not that they're all lined up, like ready to go, and there's a bunch of choices, right? Some of this is going to have to kind of pick itself just based on who's available to going into this window, right? I don't think you are comfortable with the winger situation, the center forward situation. You also have Tyler Adams is kind of in a weird limbo situation right now.
We didn't get to this when we talked about goalkeepers, but I would be shocked with playing potentially a third or fourth string goalkeeper in this window that you don't bring John Brooks into this window.
Wait, hold on. I know I have as much.
We're talking about Europeans in form. The dude's in form. He's playing well.
I just want to make sure that we are accurate in hitting this stuff. I know that we're not the news source for everybody, but again, Giovanni Reyna's working back from injury, might be available next weekend. That will certainly be a good cue that he could be in the squad when Berhalter makes his choices.
Yeah.
Timothy Weah did not get off the bench for Lille in a victory 4-0 over Clermont Foot. So I don't know. Read into what you will, right? Again, I mentioned Brendan Aronson. I think he's fine. I don't think you have to worry about him too much.
I'm not worried about whether or not Tim Weah is playing at Lille. As long as he's healthy, I still think he's the best. Best winger in Greg Berhalter's formation.
And I kind of feel like, I've already reached that point with Tyler Adams. I'm almost like, put Tyler Adams on the bench and wrap him in bubble wrap and leave him there until we get to the window.
Yeah, sure.
Like, if Tyler Adams doesn't play a bunch between now and Mexico, fine with me. And we've already talked about the fact that Adams has a yellow card going into the Mexico game and how you handle all of that. Just keep the guy healthy for now, and we'll worry about whether or not he should start against Mexico or you save him for the game in Orlando against Panama when we get there. Just keep him healthy, right? That's what I care about.
Yeah, and there's one position on the field that we spent a lot of time talking about 2 weeks ago that we even touched on tonight for this window, and that's the McKennie injury and the absence there. And Luca De La Torre had his first goal of the Eredivisie just a week ago.
Yeah. Do you think of that as necessary to convince you? I mean, he was going to be in the team anyway with Weston McKennie out, right?
The question is he starting? That's the question. It does.
I don't think he starts with Musa. We've talked this out.
I think he does.
You think he starts with Musa in front of Adams?
He plays with more defensive responsibilities in the Eredivisie. I think he can do it. I don't see why they can't both play.
But if you're playing Musa and you're playing Luca De La Torre, do you have enough going forward? Do you have another runner?
You're worried about going forward with both of them? I would thought you were talking about defensively. You were worried with both of them.
I'm saying one of them needs to be more attacking. Which one is more attacking? Luca's the
It
more attacking
doesn't have to
player.
be one all the time. Come on, they're professionals. They know how to read the game.
But if they're in, again, watch the way that Yunus Musa plays when he's with the U.S. men's national team. Can you ask him to make runs that he doesn't otherwise make at this point? Because those are the runs that Weston McKennie makes. Weston McKennie has he's like it's like a race car without the thing that keeps them at a certain speed. I can't remember what that's called. NASCAR governor, right? Whatever that is. He. It's not that he's completely free. I know he has responsibilities in the system that Berhalter's installed. But you watch Weston McKennie play; he's everywhere, right? He's the athlete necessary to be everywhere and not leave you out of position, leave you high and dry if something goes the other way. And again, he adds so much to the attack because of that freedom. Can you see Musa or De La Torre being that player if they're playing together? Because you are then limiting the amount of attacking options you have for the national team without McKennie in the lineup.
Okay, so you're going to tell me there's a better offensive option than Luca De La Torre?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't see it.
I'm talking this out, man. I
don't
have no
see
idea.
It. Is it Christian Roldan is better? Is Sebastian Lletget better?
No.
I don't see a better option, to be honest with you. I'm really trying to think now. Moving Gio Reyna there might be the only thing, and you're not even know if he can play.
Yeah,
but a lot of people are going to throw Brendan
like
Aronson's name out of there. But the few times he's been experimented at the national team level in midfield, I don't think it looked good.
No,
so
I don't like that either.
For me, it's Luca De La Torre. Now, if you're worried about defensively, which is not what you're saying, but if someone out there is worried about the defensive cover of having De La Torre and Musa at the same time, you have Kellen Acosta to put in there as well. You could play an Adams-Acosta lineup, but
By the
you're
way,
going to go very, very...
I disagree with it. No, I disagree with this. Acosta with Adams is hyper negative and redundant. I don't believe that at all. I believe that Acosta is the best replacement for Adams at the 6 if you ask Acosta to be a 6, but I don't think that's Acosta's instinct. And I think Acosta plays a lot more like Weston McKennie than he does Tyler Adams sort of naturally in the way that he wants to play. Kellen Acosta doesn't want to play like Adams. He wants to play like McKennie. And I'm not saying he's a great replacement for McKennie, but if you do have Yunus Musa available and playing, the option may be to play Kellen Acosta with him and Tyler Adams behind them, unless you are going with a double pivot, in which case you ask Acosta to sit deeper. But you can always
this
switch
is a
that up on the
conversation.
fly.
This is a segment about form. This is that's what this whole segment. Who's on good form right now? So between Luca De La Torre and Kellen Acosta, who's on better form? You have Kellen Acosta that took Colorado Rapids to the freaking Shield last year.
No, they're first place, but not the Shield. But that was also you did
Sorry,
that again.
I apologize.
You keep taking this away from the Revs somehow. I don't know what you done.
I don't know. The fact that Colorado Rapids ended up in first place in the West should have gotten them this Shield.
Can I just say before you, because this is the thought that came in my head. I know we're going to talk MLS. The defending Supporter Shield winners and the first place team in the Western Conference combined attendance this weekend was something like 20,000 people. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, come on, guys. All right, go ahead.
So what I was saying though is in a conversation about form between Kellen Acosta, Luca De La Torre, and let's throw Gianluca Busio in there because he's in this conversation as well.
Yeah, but his playing time is not where you would want it to be either.
Exactly. That's what the point of it.
That's the
it's
name,
a lot of
by the way.
Yeah, I know. If people are going with their Busio out there, I'm going to counter them with like a little judo flip. I'm going to use your own momentum against you and let you just fall right over and say like the dude's not playing.
Is that how judo works? I actually don't know how judo works at all.
Yeah, you use opponent's momentum against them.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right. Do you have a? Are you a judo guy? You have a belt?
There's things about me you don't know.
Oh, secret judo master.
Like you don't know that I'm all full of crap right now, but still, I could stand up here and say it.
I watch Peacemaker. They have a judo master in that show. Okay.
So between of the midfield options for Weston McKennie, where's the best form right now?
It's probably Luca. I think it's probably
Agreed.
Luca. Yeah. Which I mean, it's not. Acosta just started the season at LAFC, and they've looked fine, right? I mean, LAFC is doing as well as.
There's no reason to think Kellen Acosta is doing as well as you possibly could for the amount of coverage we've been able to see him. You know, we've got to see him a little bit in a winter window. You got to see him a little bit in the last World Cup window. At the last World Cup window, he's definitely one of the standouts, to be honest with you, for the national team level. So seeing him in was a revelation with his set-piece delivery. Do you find a way to shoehorn him in, and maybe the form isn't as big of a deal if you get that service on the field?
Yeah, so look, okay, the thing that people have a problem with Kellen Acosta, I mean, Rick says that he's typically poor with the ball at his feet, not an accurate passer going forward.
Yeah.
There isn't a player to put into this lineup who is an accurate passer going forward from that position. The thing about McKennie that he does, McKennie's a decent passer, but the thing that McKennie gives you is those flick-ons and those little 1-2 touch moves that you don't get because he's so big, he's such a presence, he can play that ball quickly into space. Acosta doesn't do that.
I just realized that
doesn't do that.
I did a disservice to this conversation when I give you those four options. I didn't put a fifth in there that I should have put in there, and that's Jordy Mihalovic.
I don't think he comes.
You were the one talking about a guy that could pick out a pass going forward.
You're right. He might be the guy, and he's in great form with Montreal. But I don't see him getting that. Well, I don't know. You know what? Fine. You know what? Screw it. Let's go with it because it should be all bets are off, all hands on deck. I'm going to use every cliche in the book. You're playing 3 more games to get to the World Cup. You should sell out to do it. Bring in Jordan Pefok. Lump the ball up to him if you have to. I'm okay. I know I've made this argument, and not everybody's on board. Play a double pivot, right? At the Azteca, play a double pivot. Get Acosta on the field for set-piece service. If you don't ask him to do a ton with the ball and he doesn't turn it over in bad places,
well, so are you talking about playing a double pivot with a 3-man midfield, or are you saying go to a 4-4-2?
No, I'm saying play a double pivot. Well, play 2 holding midfielders in a 4-3-3 is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again,
because that's really going to change the shape if we went to a 4-4-2.
Then maybe that's where Georgie comes in. Like maybe Georgie plays ahead of those guys if you're playing with extra defensive cover. If you're not pushing a player, if you're not pushing an extra midfielder forward, then maybe you have a hole for Georgie Mihalovic to play in, or maybe that's a Luca De La Torre role just because he advances the ball very well, or Yunus Musa. I don't know why I forgot about him. Yunus Musa in that role.
Yeah, for me, I think there's three shapes. It depends on what you want for your midfield. Do you want a defensive?
He's not going to play 4-4-2. He's not.
No. I'm talking about a 3-man midfield. If you want to go with a defensive setup, it's a Adams, Acosta, Musa. If you want to go with the closest thing, I think you can replicate to the McKennie lineup. It's a Adams, De La Torre, Musa. That's for me the closest that you're going to get. Because I don't think Bustillo's enough for him to bring him in.
Well, so you're saying no Acosta.
I'm saying no, not for that situation. If you want to play close to what you do in the MMA midfield, if you want to do something different to try to do more passing going forward, then you put Mihalovic into that midfield. There's there's three different themes there.
I think it would be an upset if Mihalovic made this roster. I think it would be. I think he probably deserves a look. And with the injury situation you've got, and with
do you bring Roldan or Leggett in over Mihalovic right now?
Well, you can't. I would not bring in both of those players and not bring Mihalovic. I would probably leave Roldan out and bring Mihalovic. That would be me. I mean,
I agree too. Even though Leggett has not been featured a number of times in the dress day squad, there's a reason why he keeps bringing him in, because with 10 minutes, 15 minutes left in the game, if you put Sebastian Leggett in there, he's going to take care of the ball. And I think that's one of the reasons that he continues to have a place in Berhalter's heart.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. All right, let's talk. We got a little bit of time left here to talk MLS. Let's get. We didn't give a lot of attention to MLS last week after the first weekend of the season. Second weekend, not quite in the books because LAFC and Portland are playing very, very shortly right after the show. But we do have some things that happened. 75,000 people showed up in Charlotte to watch a soccer match.
Galaxy.
They did not show up to watch the Galaxy, but they did see Efrain Alvarez steal the show with that goal, which was...
I erupted off my couch in a way that scared my children.
I need to give the man his proper due. And I don't think we handed out some old babies after week one. I should have done it for Jimmy Chara. Absolutely, Efrain Alvarez gets one. If anybody else has nominations for old babies from MLS week 2, hit us up with those. The Galaxy were far and away the better team. I mean, they had,
16-1 shots at a half
20, or
something like that.
Yeah, it was nuts. 25-1 or something in terms of shots.
Credit to the Charlotte goalkeeper, too. I mean, made some great saves, to deny Chicharito over and over again. But in the end, you just can't play on your heels for that long and not have someone unlock you eventually.
They don't have the horses for it. I think Swiderski is going to be decent up top if they get him some service. I think I can see it percolating a little bit.
Yeah, you could definitely see that there's some movement there. I thought
Jordi Reyna was their best player.
Jordi Reyna was the best player for either team. I thought he was far and away. If they could find a way for him and Swiderski to start combining, because so far it feels like they play different. I don't know. It's first game for Swiderski, so it's very, very early to see.
No, he basically just got off the plane too, because his visa only cleared like 3 days ago or something.
Yeah, I mean, Fuchs and Reyna are two guys to build around. I think Fuchs can be a good defender for them over the course of the season because they're going to be doing a lot of defending. It's going to be a lot of it's going to come down to him. I think they need some more holding midfield. The midfield was on for the Galaxy There's a huge hole in the middle of that midfield all day long that Douglas Costa kept going into. I mean, from the outside.
Yeah, they made Douglas Costa look good, and he wasn't that great.
No, I'm still not impressed so far.
We do have a couple of nominations. I'm not going to hit the sound like 5 times, but Nate says, one of those for 75,000 fans. And if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I put it in both places.
It just shows the reach of Chicharito and Kevin Cabral that they can put 75,000 seats in that stadium.
I said that, look, I know that this might not be, they're not going to get 75,000 out every time, right? They're shooting for 30, and even that would be remarkable. But I don't want to be this old. I don't want to be the old guy who says, "Oh, you don't know how good you got it these days." But seriously, Jared, I mean, up until Seattle showed up,
I remember when 17,000 was a big deal.
We didn't have this; it just didn't exist. And I know Pelé drew 70+ thousand to the Meadowlands on that carpet they played on in the 70s. But that was, that was so long ago.
And I want to believe that despite a 1-0 loss, the atmosphere that they got to have for those 90 minutes and the way that their team was in it. I mean, despite how poor they were playing, they were in it and had moments where they could have taken the game. Yeah. I hope that's enough to get them to come back.
I look, obviously you weren't because you're a Galaxy fan. Oh, wait, no, I'm wearing the shirt. I'm a Galaxy fan too. I didn't want them to,
till you die.
To score. Absolutely. I'm LA till I die, baby. I wanted them to score to hear how that crowd would have responded. That's what we did not get. We didn't get to see Charlotte go bonkers over a home goal.
They got to go bonkers over some pretty good saves. I mean, there were some really good. Listen, if you're a casual And someone you were just going to see an event that you don't know much about soccer in a new city that come to your hometown.
Yeah.
That was still pretty cool to see a guy diving out there to block like Chicharito on a full extension.
They had a couple of moves. And I think the Charlotte fans, I mean, I think there were soccer fans there, but even the ones that weren't, I think they're going to catch on pretty quickly. A couple of other things from the MLS weekend. Well, first of all, I learned this weekend. Do you know about Philadelphia's new signing, their center forward signing, Jared?
Is he in diapers?
Have you heard of what?
Oh, they get younger and younger in Philadelphia. I don't know.
No. This is a Danish player that they signed to play center forward for them after they traded Chibilko.
No, I did not.
Do you know about their? His name is okay. His last name is spelled U-H-R-E. How would you say that? U-H-R-E.
U-H-R-E.
How would you say that?
Yuri.
His name is Mikhail Ua.
Ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-ting, walla-walla, bing-bang.
It is Ua. So, yeah, I was
The
like...
Sons of Benz aren't chanting that when he scores. Is it that stupid Dupe song? Come on.
They've got something. I got sent a clip when I was talking about this in the Slack with the besties. Somebody sent me a clip of the fans in the corner at the River End in Philadelphia welcoming him when he showed up the last
Sounds like
week.
a Hawaiian name.
Ua. I don't know how Danish works, but apparently the R just does not make any noise that sounds like what I would think an R would sound like.
But that's odd because Casper Schmeichel has the R and it sounds like an R.
Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly how any of that works.
You Scandinavians are all silly.
They got a 2-1 win over Montreal. By the way,
So let me
Montreal,
ask you a question about this last weekend. Of the MLS results, what's the most surprising? What was the surprising result for you? Like, is it
week
is
two?
it a week 2? Yeah, this
Okay.
past week. Is it a 5-1 Austin over Miami, or
That's
is
not
it
surprising?
I mean,
It's not surprising.
It's surprising. Austin is now
Okay.
2 wins
That's
and
fair.
put up 5
That's fair.
goals.
Yes, it was pointed out. I hate to do this. Should I bring him on the show when I'm going to roast his team? Is that the move? Or do
No,
I
he
leave
doesn't
him?
want that. He doesn't. Oh Jesus.
Oh, he's look how
This is why you. This is why you
King
guys.
of Chicago.
look how
Listen,
sad he
if you gotta listen in your car, you gotta listen in your car. But there's something about seeing Nick on camera
there are
when
two
his
things.
team is just doing Cincinnati things.
There are two visuals you have to see if you're a fan of this show. One of them is Nick like this when FC Cincinnati is as bad as they are. The other one is when Jared makes Nick go like
Eggplant.
beet
I don't know,
red.
like rhubarb.
You make my shirt or my face match the color of my
That
shirt.
match the color of the shirt. It was pointed out by Mr. Matthew Doyle of MLSsoccer.com that Austin has now scored 9 goals in their first 2 matches of their second year as an MLS franchise. How many goals did FC Cincinnati? Look, it was a truncated year. They didn't play 34 games, but how many goals did FC Cincinnati score in year 2 of their existence, Nick?
I want to say it's like 14.
It was 12. They scored 12 goals. Now, again, it was the COVID hit and
hard
all that
dozen.
stuff. It was
Not even a baker's dozen. He just got like the regular dozen.
Now, again, I already said this. I'll say it again. Austin could be a lot better than they were last year. I think Jeruzzi looks pretty decent. However, they played the absolute dregs of Major League Soccer.
Breck Shea was playing center back.
They're again, it's like their non-conference schedule. It's like they're playing Kent State and Florida Atlantic. It's not when they get back to the Big 12 of the SEC, it's going to get real. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get a little bit different. So
wait, so how come when I
out.
asked you biggest surprises games of the weekend, you went to Cincinnati for some reason?
Because you asked if that Austin 5-1 over Inter Miami was the surprise, and then I was going to bring up the stat because they beat Cincinnati with the goals that 4 was it 5 goals last week?
Here's
It was
the
5-0.
So this is
10
interesting.
goals. They've scored 10. Austin has already. Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you this anyway, and play just like a really quick, short little fun game called Contender or Pretender. And there's
so I should
4.
leave?
No, I mean Nick, you can
You
get
wanna
in
play?
on this. You can get on this.
Oh,
It's
play.
just an opinion.
We're pretenders.
It's just an opinion.
We're
Not even-
relegation
You don't even
contenders.
you don't even rate. You're not even on the board.
I have a hard time believing they get paid.
Man.
All right, so
Wow.
there are 4
Wow.
undefeated teams right now. 4 2-win teams. Obviously, there's potentially one more in LAFC, depending on how this result goes this evening.
Yes.
Contender or Pretender at 2 wins to start the season for New York Red Bulls.
New York Red Bulls.
I did not take them to make the playoffs
Neither
in
did
our
I.
predictions.
I don't remember if I did. I think I might have had them sneaking in.
Morgan's shaking her head no.
Man, it's so early. Look, San Jose is a disaster, right? And that was their first win of the year was San Jose. Toronto is in the middle of a rebuild. I know it's 2 away wins. I can't say
I took Toronto to make
contender.
the playoffs.
I
can't say contender either, and here's one reason why. And I know Nick's like contractually he can't say it about a New York Red Bull team, but I think you're losing Caden Clark in the summer. I don't. Assuming if supposedly you're losing Caden Clark in the summer, they may work out another deal after that. Right? Isn't he going back? Isn't he going to Leipzig in the summer?
I think his loan is for the whole year. I think his loan is for the whole year.
Summer. Oh, Morgan's
Somebody will tell
ahead.
us, but I think the loan is for the whole year.
Then I apologize. I thought they were losing Caden Clark mid-season, so I didn't think they had him for the full season.
They just brought in a kid from a player from crap. They just signed somebody out of England on loan, but I can't remember who it is. So give
and
me
Nick, I was saying you contractually can't like New York Red Bulls because they took Frankie Amaya.
He doesn't
I'm
care
glad
about
they
that.
took him.
He doesn't like Frankie Amaya.
So Nick,
Amaya's
contender or
trash.
pretender for New York Red Bulls? 2 wins to start the season.
For now, I'm going to say pretender.
I agree. I mean, there's so much. The coach doesn't seem to like his own team. I don't know. Like they've gotten 2 good results. Let's put it that way.
Haven't
DC
really played
United.
anybody.
DC
No.
United.
No, DC United's pretender.
Pretender.
What is that
They didn't score from the run of play against FC Cincinnati. They got bailed out by a lucky penalty by VAR in the 98th minute to get 3 points. So definitely pretender.
No.
Austin
By the way,
FC. Go
real
ahead.
quick, New York has signed striker Ashley Fletcher on loan from Watford. So
Badass name, by the way. That's a
coming
badass
in.
name.
Ashley Fletcher?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Ashley Fletcher sells real estate on the weekends. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, dude. Not a British Ashley.
No, probably not a British Ashley. You're right. That Ashley is a different Ashley. There's a British Ashley and a real estate,
British Ashley Fletcher is like I picture the dude from Bridgerton, like that sexy
Ashley
dude from Bridgerton.
Ashley Fletcher has the best Pinterest board you've ever seen. That's Ashley Fletcher. That's who Ashley Fletcher.
Austin FC, contender or pretender?
No, pretender.
Pretender.
Are you kidding me? They
But
played
so
dregs.
far, these are the 3 of the 4 teams
Yeah.
that are
I
double
know.
wins to start the season.
Well, okay, but you know that just because a team didn't win doesn't mean they're not a contender. If this just because they maybe drew or
And then
lost this weekend.
LA Galaxy.
Man, I can't call
Who'd they
the
play in the
Galaxy
first
a
week?
contender.
First week they played New York City FC.
They beat NYCFC 1-0 on a Chicharito goal.
Are we talking playoff contender or are we talking MLS Cup?
I think it's
Contender.
contender is in like they're going to be decent, not like maybe win the Shield, but I mean,
Contender means you think they could maybe make a run to MLS Cup if everything goes their way. I don't think
All right.
that's who the Galaxy are this year. I think they might make the playoffs, but they'll sneak in.
I'll
That's
say
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
thing. I think it's pretender right now for the Galaxy too, even though it's my team, because what I do like is 2 shutouts to start the season and an away win is huge for turning the tide of what held the Galaxy back the last 2 years.
Let me look at this list real quick. So I'll start in the West.
1-0
Now,
get wins is
out there
not
on
good enough.
the you guys, what do you call it? The best coast? It's not the best coast. It
is.
Austin, no. Galaxy, no. Nashville, yes. Even though it was a draw for them this weekend, I would still say that's
Who'd
a
they
yes
draw?
for them. Minnesota. They drew Minnesota.
If
in Minnesota.
LAFC wins today against Portland, contender or pretender?
Probably contender.
What's
I
the
think so.
difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference?
They
LAFC 's
both
better.
didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, better team, better. They have more talent across the board. They haven't even gotten Orango off yet. Once he goes off with Carlos Vela, they're going to be fine. They'll be contenders. I think so. Real Salt Lake is a no.
Just like their logo.
LAFC is okay. If they beat Portland, I'm going to say yes. Colorado, it's a win and a draw, but I don't, or win and loss. Sorry, win and loss because they lost their opener, but they beat Atlanta. I don't know what the hell that means.
Did you talk about
Sporting.
RSL yet? Did you say RSL?
I did. I said no on RSL.
That's the most shocking result of the weekend for me right there. When we talk
Yeah.
about which one, RSL 1-0 over Seattle.
Yeah,
I mean, it was they were
Seattle
playing
was-
they were playing in a snowball though, you know.
Yeah, no. I don't know what to say about Seattle. I still think they're going to be in the mix at the end of it, but right now they're in neutral during the run-up plus CONCACAF Champions League. I mean, I
Who
don't
did they
know.
lose to last week?
They lost
They lost to Nashville.
to Nashville, 1-0 at home. Yeah,
I mean, I guess there's no shame in losing to Nashville, but there's
No.
shame in losing to RSL.
Yeah, RSL was a playoff team.
Here's one for you, Jared. How about Orlando? What do you think about Orlando?
Man,
They're
that's
about to
a
get 3
tough
points.
one.
They're about to get. Oh, they
They
got
play
Cincinnati next.
next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not take Orlando to make the playoffs. I don't think. I think
Orlando
I had them on the
beat
outside. looking
Montreal.
in.
They beat Montreal to start the season.
Okay, but they beat Montreal. Montreal's distracted right now. Let's
Okay,
be honest.
sure. You could say that.
CCL.
And they drew with Chicago and didn't score against the Fire. The Fire, by the way, have 0 goals in 2 games.
It's a 0-0 game. I thought we don't talk about 0-0 games at the Best Soccer Show.
No, I know we have rules about this. I'm not going to talk about the game. I'm just curious what you think about Orlando.
I'm gonna say pretender for now because I just still don't see how they've backfilled the DK position. I don't know that they have enough creativity.
You don't think Pato's the answer? You don't think Pato's the answer?
No, they haven't backfilled Nani as well. I just don't see offensively. You saw it this weekend. It's a 0-0 game. Oh yeah, we'll see. If they can't score against Cincinnati, then they've got problems for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be evident. I'm
think fully expecting the FC Cincinnati to lose to Orlando this weekend.
I had Columbus with a bounce back season, and look, it's 2 games. I think they'll probably.
Okay, what about this from Lefty? And he says Seattle must be taking CCO more serious right now. Do you think there's a reasoning for that?
Fair point.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think their focus is on that. Columbus was up in San Jose, ended up giving up a late goal to Calvo, who scored twice in the last 10 minutes of the game, 12 minutes of the game, to drop 2 points on the road. Again, you maybe don't count on 2 points or 3 points in San Jose or anywhere away in Major League Soccer, but they were up. And Zelerion had an old baby. I think somebody nominated him earlier, so let me go ahead and...
Can we give some love, too? Give some love to the San Jose Earthquakes, who drew 3-3 after going down to a red card in, the 12th minute or something?
No, it was 33rd minute.
33rd, but they were down 3-1 at one point. Came back to tie that game. And I know that everyone talks about Almeida. This is the kind of thing that galvanizes a team. A draw like this coming together to overcome a red card.
Almeida has to do the movie Major League Energy to make this work. It has to be like, we're together against our owner. We hate that guy. Screw that guy. Let's go do it for ourselves. It's the only way it works in San Jose. Now, I hope he doesn't have a
like Cleveland Indians in the Major League kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I hope he doesn't have John Fisher naked underneath some. I don't hope that's not a thing that they're doing because he's definitely pissed. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like what's going on there. When Houston signed Hector Herrera, who I don't think we've even mentioned that, have we? When Houston signed Hector Herrera, he basically said, "Good for Paulo Nagamura. His team cares."
I know, that was awesome. That's the kind of shit talk I like.
Yeah. I like that there's a little more heat right now in MLS. There's a little bit from Matias Almeida. Got some coaches who are being honest out there.
A little bit from Julian Gressel and
so this is what we got. So let's get into this. So for those of you who don't know, Julian Gressel and Fabian Herbers from Chicago, both German kids who came to the United States to play soccer, became professionals. Herbers is in Chicago. Playing for Chicago. Julian Gressel, obviously DC United. They do a podcast together called Sie Soccer. How do you do it, Jared? Do the German for me.
Sie Soccer Podcast.
Sie Soccer Podcast. It's called Sie Soccer. It's hilarious that they named it that. They put out this clip as they're teasing I think this is probably brand new. Go check out the podcast. This is 2 minutes long. I don't know if I'm going to play all of it, but this is Julian Gressel asking Fabian Herbers about playing against Inter Miami in the opening week of the season and Gonzalo Higuain.
But the most important question that I had for you in regards to that game is, did you get Higuain's jersey this time?
No, fuck that guy, man. Bro, this guy's so pathetic. I don't know. Obviously he's a presence on the field, and every time like a teammate of his makes a wrong pass or something, or doesn't pass the ball exactly to him, he's just standing there and looks at him like in his like negative mood, and like, just making like his whole body language is just terrible. I wouldn't want to be a teammate of him, and I'm just like over it.
So you don't want the jersey anymore either?
Nah, fuck that guy.
So is that any different though? First of all, I love the take, but
this for the podcast listeners, that's going to be bleeped because I'm not going to put it out on the feed. But for the live listeners, they got all of that. They got the whole.
But is this any different than Zlatan Ibrahimovic when he was playing? When he was just frustrated constantly. Robbie Keane, at least Robbie Keane won. That winning cures all ails, though.
Do you remember Freddie Lundberg? Freddie Lundberg was the worst with stuff like this, too. I mean, it's just...
Freddie Lundberg in Chicago was really bad with the Seattle. I don't think he was quite as bad. But
not quite as bad as Seattle.
There's better components for him in Seattle. But
I mean, look...
How is Higuain any different than those guys, to be honest with you?
He's
just that way on a shitty team.
Right. Well, Zlatan played on a shitty team, too, right? Which is probably... And he's just that guy.
And the difference between Zlatan and Higuain is Zlatan still produced at MLS. Higuain's not producing in MLS. So it's like you're
Well,
going to be
that's-
this guy and you're not even
right.
making anything. At least Zlatan was doing amazing things.
I'm sure that Herbers would have said something different if Higuain had a hat trick on the day. Like, even if his attitude was bad, or maybe he would have been even more salty because Chicago would have lost. Or let's imagine Chicago beats Miami, 2-1, and Higuain scores an incredible goal. Does he say the same thing? Is he still talking about it? Because,
I don't know.
Or is he saying, okay, at least he delivered something?
Or is he putting a jersey on his wall?
I wonder. I don't know, man. Look, this.
Listen, I am happy that there's a Julian Gressel in this league. Everything about Julian Gressel is just like you get the feeling he's the guy. He's the same guy all the time. Like he's never shy about even calling out Atlanta when he was there.
I mean, that's not Julian Gressel.
I know, but I like
okay.
that this guy is piloting something that is gonna. If he's steering a ship, I'm happy.
How long have we been asking? Again, this show took a little bit of a hiatus, but a decade of doing this show, whatever it is now. How much have we asked for this league to have a little bit more heat, a little fire, a little conflict, a little bit of attitude?
True or false? Is MLSsoccer.com coming to them and saying, "Hey guys, you're still like you're on the payroll. You need to be a little bit better than that. We can't have you guys talking like this out there."
Does the league office call up Fabian Evers and say, "What did you say?"
Do the fun police come in?
Probably. Somebody's going to have a talk with them, I would bet. I would imagine. I mean, you got to
And
let
that's
this stuff
why
fly,
I
though.
hate MLS sometimes.
Yeah, you got to let this stuff
You get
fly.
something fun and you want to make it unfun. People are actually talking about your product.
You're gonna scandalize all the fans out there that don't want to hear the curse words, Jared. He dropped the F. By the way, that dude, if I don't know when he learned English, my presumption is he got it when he moved to the U.S. to play in college. If he knew English before that, then this isn't really the
You know what though? The next time.
He's excellent with his use of an F-bomb. I mean, I'll give the man credit.
The next
for
time
that.
the Fire play Inter Miami, you don't think I'm going to watch now? I want to see if they get stuck in on each other.
So what? Let's imagine Federico Higuain. That's Federico. That's his brother. Gonzalo Higuain hears about Fabian Evers talking shit on him. What is What is his reaction? Do you think?
Who's
who is that? Right. Well, I mean, obviously he's going to know he's a player, right? He's going to find out that part. Do you think it's like?
Do you think Higuain knows how to get a podcast on his phone? Or does he have a guy that does it for him?
I think that if he was going to hear this, it would have to. Well, he wouldn't go looking for it, but if he was going to hear this, he'd have to have a
Higuain
guy.
has a flip phone.
You think it's a flip phone?
I think he sees behind the times. I don't know.
No, well, he looks like. I mean, talk about like looking like Jason Alexander. It's Gonzalo Higuain, right? He's the oldest looking player, for considering his age in the league, right? I mean,
yeah, him and Stoichkov back in the days. That's the level he's on.
By the way, one thing we did not talk about is that Victor Vasquez went out of that game for LA Galaxy. I think that's a big problem for you guys because
dude, he is so good in midfield, dude. Like he is. Having a guy that can take a beat on the ball and so calm on it, I am really bummed out. It means more playing time for Sasha Kljestan, but it's still a drop off,
Sasha wasn't bad, but I know Sasha's a starter in a 75-minute guy
at this point, they are together. They make 190-minute player. That's the way Vanny plays these guys. 60 minutes for one, 30 for the other.
Let's give some love to that incredible story. Sasha Kljestan, a decade ago, whatever it was, meeting a kid who was going through cancer treatments and then plays against him. The kid plays for Charlotte. He's a rookie for Charlotte this year. That's incredible. Like, you can't even write something like that. It just doesn't even make any sense in the real world.
How old does that make Sasha Kljestan feel, though?
Yeah.
My wife was watching the game. She's like, how old is Sasha Kljestan? that kid could be playing in the league now.
Yeah, right. That's true. But I mean, Sasha's holding on, and he's still got a good gig.
Was he rocking the mustache 12 years ago in that picture? I don't remember now.
Yeah.
How did that guy get a Victoria's Secret's model with a mustache?
I don't. You want me to try to figure that out for you?
That dude,
I don't know.
He must be hung like a pool noodle.
Oh
man.
my God! You can't say this is again. I know we already dropped F-bombs on the show, but you can't say things like that. That's not
That's
even
a compliment.
Like, you weren't even like you. You weren't even trying to be subtle with that one. Like, at least make the joke.
I used a metaphor. Actually, a simile. I said like. It was a simile.
Oh, okay. Like a quasar. That's what it was.
If
like
Sasha Kljestan's offended by that, then I apologize.
No, I don't think
reason
he's
anyone
offended.
should be.
I don't think he's offended. I think
Pool noodles are offended?
I don't know. I just worry about.
I'm just trying to figure out who's offended.
I just worry that that's going to come back on us somehow. We don't have the free
sure she is
reign
too.
that Fabian Herbers has on his podcast to drop F-bombs about Gonzalo Higuain. We've never said F that guy. Well, actually, no, we probably have. That's probably not true.
I said it to you.
Probably said. Oh, you definitely said it to me. It's 100% true. I think earlier tonight when I put this jersey on, you were like, F that guy.
F that guy.
All right. Any other business here? I mean, it's a little bit early for us to wrap this thing up. Do we have any other news that we should get to before we get out of here?
You wanted to get to the presidency a little bit.
Oh, I wanted to mention.
I mean, not
okay.
Biden, but like.
No. So the U.S. soccer presidential election happened this weekend, and Cindy Parlo-Cone barely knocked off Carlos Cordero for a.
Did she get your vote?
A second term. I didn't vote.
Oh,
you have a vote?
I don't know how these things work.
You know
You're
who
Big
has a
J.
vote?
I don't know.
Stakeholders have a vote. They're called stakeholders, Jared, which is. It's not. I don't know. It's
Is
just
that like
a word.
tastemakers? Like what is that?
Not nearly as cool as taste. Stakeholders are like the opposite of tastemakers. Stakeholders.
How do you hold stake in U.S. soccer?
It's not the other. It's a different kind of stake. So look. The Athletes Council has incredible power now because of some changes to the laws.
That sounds super badass. Like they meet with candlelit. Like, really.
Do you know who's on the Athletes Council?
No,
Could
but
you
it should be
guess?
some.
Give me
I
a
can
name
guess.
you think would be on the Athletes Council.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay,
Athletes
let's see
Council.
how many you can get. Hold on, let me tell you how many there are.
How many
first,
are? Yeah.
Okay. I got to scroll here. There's at least, I would say there's at least 20. I'm trying to eyeball it because they're not numbered.
Both.
I'm saying there's at least 20.
Sure. I'm gonna assume about a 50-50 men-women split, or is that not?
Yeah,
the
something
case?
like that. Something like that.
All
And
right.
by the way, don't just go with the outdoor game. You got to think a little bit deeper than that. But you
Indoor?
might not know those anyway. No, but go ahead. Sorry.
Are you trying to tell me Precky's on there or something? Did you say the indoor game?
Precky's a legend in outdoor and indoor. But go ahead. Name somebody. You can stick with the
Athletes
outdoor game
Council.
and you'll. Athletes Council. Go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna say Kobe Jones.
Very good. Kobe Jones is on the Athletes Council.
I'm gonna have to say Jeff Laurentowicz. No, that would be MLS, not U.S. Soccer. I'm gonna take that off. Sorry. As soon as I said, I was thinking MLS. Not he doesn't have enough national team.
There are some guys that are mainly known for MLS on this roster.
What I'm thinking is guys that have been player union kind of guys, and that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Heather O'Reilly.
Heather O'Reilly is not on the Athletes Council, as far as I can tell. I'm scanning here. No, she's not. But,
Okay.
I mean, you would be in the right zone for some of these.
Yeah. Christine Lilly.
Christine Lilly is not on the Athletes Council.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with Lexi Lawless.
No.
No, he can't. He's media. He can't be doing that. Let's see.
Stuart Holden used to be. He's not anymore, but he used to be.
How about I'm gonna go with who would be politically involved a bit? Casey Keller.
No. I'll give you a hint. Okay. There are a
Claudia
couple
Reyna?
of active U.S. women's national team players on this list.
Oh, you can be active and be on it? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can be active. And
Gotta say
be on
Becca Rapinoe.
it. No. Why'd you go there?
Because she's very active in U.S.
Yeah,
soccer.
but she's active. Okay, she's fighting against U.S. soccer constantly. But
she can't hold a stake?
I mean, okay, fine. I guess that's a fine guess. Give me another guess. I gave you that hint.
Okay, for current,
Active. I said active.
What's the difference between active and current?
Not a lot, but go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm trying to figure out the puzzle the way you said that.
Just say
What's
a
the difference
name.
between active and current?
Just say a name. Just say a name. Pick one.
Alex Morgan.
She is on their Athletes Council. There you go.
Is that the one that was not is active but not current?
I mean, no, that's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying active is what I said. I'm not saying they're also not current. I'm saying that active is the word I used. I didn't use
Claudio
current, I
Reyna.
used active. Claudio Reyna is not on the Athletes
All
Council.
right, you better start putting some out there because I'm batting like.
Okay. A guy from your neighborhood, your area, is on the Athletes Council.
Greg Vanny?
No. A guy who literally grew up where you grew up is on the Athletes Council.
Landon Donovan?
No. Somebody
Carlos
else.
Bocanegra.
Carlos Bocanegra is on the Athletes Council.
Damn right, get some IE on there.
This guy already got referenced on the show multiple times with our first discussion tonight.
So goalkeepers was our first discussion. So
Yeah.
let's see. Matt Turner?
Let's say that this guy wouldn't be a lot of people's first choice for
Brad
national
Guzan.
team. Braguzan is on the Athletes Council. Let's see. Who else? Former U.S. men's national team players also, including
Yeah, that's
one
what I was
who...
figuring. Jeff Akes?
Jeff Ayers is not on the Athletes Council.
Yeah, I always wondered, like, if you're an executive, like, are you going to be on something like this? I'm not sure how that works.
Carlos Bocanegra is.
Yeah.
Gooch is on this.
Gooch, nice.
Gooch is on the Athletes Council. Ali Krieger's on the Athletes Council. Becky Sauerbrunn, which is I kind of trying to push you in that direction as well.
Oh, I see what you mean. She may not be okay. Never mind. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to draw a distinction. I just said all I said was active. That's all I said.
Now, what were you trying to say when
Matt
you're saying
Freese,
don't think outdoor? Like, what else is there? Are you saying there's indoor representation on this?
There are some people on this list that maybe are more. I think
maybe the Paralympics or something
two
like
are
that?
Paralympic athletes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
exactly. I don't know who Nelson Aquari is. I probably should. I don't. Danielle Slayton is on the list. Matt Freese is the backup goalkeeper in Philly who went to Harvard, who with a couple of other young players ran for the Athletes Council and got in. I'm trying to think of who else is. I think Brianna Pinto is one of those players as well. Lindsay Tarpley, Lori Lindsay, Yal Averbush West, Lynn Williams.
I would expect Eddie Pope to be on that.
He may have been at one point. He's not now. So there you go. That's the Athletes Council.
So,
Anyway,
Cindy Parlow-Cone.
Cindy Barlow-Cone won. She barely won, but she won. And, this was a relief for a lot of people because nobody really thought, nobody outside of the youth associations that for some reason believed that Cindy Barlow-Cone was ignoring them, and that's why they backed Carlos Cordero. Only they were voting for him, but there was enough of a split there. And I think if one or two more or maybe three more Athletes Council votes had gone Carlos's way, he could have won this thing. But Cindy
Parlow had one of the most epic braided ponytails ever to play the game. like super long too. Like it was really, really impressive.
I
if I can talk about Breck Shea's hair, I can't talk about Cindy Parlow's hair. Like we have lines now.
I just don't understand.
By the way, did you see Tolkien's hair for New York Red Bulls this weekend?
No, I did not. What
think about Breck Shea with worse decisions. It's like it's amazing. I hit up Fishkin on Twitter and I was like, Fishkin, are you seeing this? Like, you got a nickname for this kid? Like, it needs to be something like Disco Pony. Like, this kid was amazing to look at. Regal.
We need to get on that. What was the recent? We'll close with this. What was the recent Breck Shea story? He did some animal wrangling or something.
No, he picked up a snake at practice and disposed of it like a freaking boss.
Which is like, man, would you watch a reality show that followed Breck Shea around?
Absolutely, a Wild Boy style kind of thing with like Breck Shea. But who's the guy with him? Who's the Steve-O to?
This is not Gonzalo Higuain.
No, God no.
Come on, just to see.
Gonzalo just be in the corner with a cigarette, like, don't touch that, Breck.
I don't know. Who could it be down there?
There's no one of Breck Shea's status.
I don't know who's on that team anymore, Jared. I don't know who's on that team anymore. Gonzalo Higuain and Breck Shea are like the only two players that came back from last year.
Is it Robinson still on there?
Robbie Robinson?
Yeah.
Do you even know what Robbie Robinson looks like? Could you pick him out of a lineup? You did? You could. Okay.
Yeah.
DeAndre Yedlin's down.
The
DeAndre
first
Yedlin and
overall
Breck
pick.
Shea. DeAndre Yedlin and Breck Shea. DeAndre Yedlin's about to be a dad or is a dad now, so I guess maybe he's.
I don't know. Do you think DeAndre Yedlin's got that kind of flavor? I don't know, man.
Have you seen his hair? The man makes interesting decisions. You don't think he would be?
I'm not thinking about hair. I'm thinking about who wants to be on an adventure with Breck Shea.
I'm using that as an example to suggest that maybe DeAndre Yedlin would be down for some stuff. That's all I'm saying.
I would.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I would watch Ricky Haydock and Breck Shea on a Wild Boy show.
I don't think the generational thing would work in that situation.
I think that plays into it, like a Robin Big. I think like Robin Big, but
that wasn't generational. That was just big black dude and small skater guy. That was not. What was that? That wasn't generational.
I'm just thinking about where I think there's a good chemistry.
Okay. We'll work on this. Everybody send us your suggestions. Go sign up for the Besties Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. You get a bonus show pretty much every week. You get access to the Slack, which is where things like Breck Shea wrangling a snake get discussed. Lots of other things getting discussed.
See, what I would have enjoyed is if Breck Shea back in the day was a thing early on in MLS, when every MLS had like a mascot named like the Burn and stuff like that. And whenever Breck Shea goes to a city, he has to do something with the mascot of that. Like he has to play with fire when he plays with the Chicago Fire. Like if there was
you want a theme to his activity, to his adventure. I see.
That's what I would say. Like Metro Stars, he has to dodge traffic. I don't know. Like the guy has to do something with it, like this theme.
You could use the current name of the team. He just has to fight a bull. He has to do some
Yes,
bullfighting.
there we go. He's got to fight a bull.
Now in Seattle, he has to like.
But everyone's gone to these stupid FC names now. That's why it doesn't work anymore.
You could still twist it and turn it and find something. You could find something. I don't know.
We could plays the Dallas Burn. Like he has to see how long he can take holding something hot.
Maybe, but he could also just ride the bull too. For
rapids?
For
you want to see Rex Shea go solo in a canoe down some rapids?
You're trying to get the man killed. You're trying to get the man killed.
That's part of it.
He's a treasure. He's a national treasure.
I just want to see Rex Shea, Jackass, and Soccer put together.
This is true, by the way. Shout out to Derek Ritchie from the Straight Red Card. This is true. His nickname in Dallas was Playboy Llama.
So which is better, Playboy Llama or Disco Pony?
Which is better?
What's a better nickname?
Can they both be the same? We just keep both of those? Those are both great.
Okay. All right,
Disco Pony's great. All right, there you go. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Ratings and reviews, please go and leave those for us so that we can read them on the air and give you credit, and then helps us to get more people involved in what's going on here. Again, qualifiers coming up. I don't know the schedule yet for everything happening around those last 3 qualifiers, but we're going to try to get some stuff done for you people. We're going to work on that. Anything else, Mr. DuBois? Anything?
I think that's it.
All right. We're out of here. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Get to the chopper!
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
What are we doing?
I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
It was there. Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. Wet.
Go to DEFCON 2.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
So feel respect for the Gegner.
Danger zone!
Oh, it's incredible! Nothing for you.
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, would you look at that? An absolute firecracker.
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
Jay Rodius.